Hey everybody, today we got a different kind of video that we are going to do for you. I am currently in my office and we are going to talk about Gig Harbor, and I'm going to pull up a map that is going to be showing all of Gig Harbor and the surrounding areas, and we're going to go through all the different things about Gig Harbor and the different areas and give you some visual reference as to where these areas are in relation to things such as Seattle, Tacoma, workplaces, maybe like the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, things like that. So we're going to go through all of that stuff. You can kind of figure out the geography of Gig Harbor because we're quite spread out, actually. It's not a very big town, but we're quite spread out, and depending where you end up could have a huge influence on your daily lifestyle. So I want to point everything out. I'm going to share my screen and get a Google map up of Gig Harbor, and we're going to go through the whole 9 yards. And by the way, my name is Darren Rivers. I am the Northwest Realtor, and I am managing broker of the Rivers Group. We're also going to post all my information right here, so you can reach out to me about this video or any others that we have. And let's get into it. You can see on my screen the map of Gig Harbor, and I'm just going to zoom this out a little bit to give us some reference as to where we are at. So downtown Gig Harbor is right there where that little icon is. And you can see that we are actually southwest of Seattle. And then we are just west, maybe slightly northwest of Tacoma. And then if you're looking up in the Kitsap area, Bremerton, we're basically just south of this. Now get this, Highway 16 says it's an east-west highway, which it kind of is down here in Tacoma, but whenever you get to the Gig Harbor side, it very much goes north and south. So as you can see, Gig Harbor is on its own kind of little peninsula. We have water on 3 sides going all the way around here. And so this makes it pretty unique is while we have plenty of space out here for some growth and there is some undeveloped land, we are almost kind of landlocked. We can't do a complete urban sprawl here, and all the county developers and planning department stuff, they don't want urban sprawl, they want urban density. And that's why many of the new neighborhoods you're seeing, the homes are much just closer together, and that's kind of what all the city planners are going for, is the urban density these days. So this is the reason that I wanted to bring up this grander, wider view of the orientation of Gig Harbor and where it says compared to Seattle, Tacoma. And just so you know, here's SeaTac. This is the airport right in here, where my cursor is going around in circles. So depending where you're at in Gig Harbor, you could have a really easy commute over to Tacoma or the airport, for example. If you lived right here near the Narrows Bridge and right near the freeway, you're 35 minutes from the SeaTac airport. But as my teammate just pointed out, Jake Abel, he's on my team, he just pointed out, if you live in a far region of Gig Harbor, like way out here, which is Horsehead Bay, if you live out there, well, you're 25 minutes just to get to Gig Harbor. And then you have another 35 or 45 minute drive up to SeaTac. So that's why where you buy, depending on your lifestyle, it's a very important consideration to have because it could dramatically affect your daily life. Okay, so let's touch on a couple things first, and that is going to be commutes and the highway, the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, traffic, things like that. Just want to give you an idea of what real life is like out here. So again, follow my cursor here. This is Highway 16. This is the only main highway that goes through Gig Harbor. It connects us over here to Tacoma, where you get to Interstate 5, and then eventually you'll climb up to Seattle, or you can go down south towards Olympia and eventually get into Portland, Oregon, right? So the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, this, back in the old days, was a huge bottleneck with traffic during rush hour. This is back before we had the second bridge, which started construction in 2006. But prior to that, it was a serious rush hour ordeal to get over that bridge during rush hour from Gig Harbor to the Tacoma side in the AM hours, and then in the PM hours from Tacoma back over to Gig Harbor. And God forbid if there was an accident on that bridge or any kind of other emergency, you could get stuck there for a very long time. So in 2006, they started construction of the new Narrows Bridge, and it was completed in 2008. So now we have 2 bridges, and it really, really did alleviate a lot of the traffic problems. There was no more any rush hour traffic going to and from Tacoma at all over the bridges. The downside is we have a toll. We have a toll that charges you to go over the bridge from the Gig Harbor side to the Tacoma side. They do not charge you for coming back, so it's just a one-way charge. And currently, if you have a good to go pass, it's $5, maybe $5.25. I kind of forgot. It's automatically billed to my credit card, and I kind of forgot what the daily pass is, but it's about $5. And that really alleviated the traffic. But what it also caused was it also caused Gig Harbor to grow, because all of a sudden it was a lot more attractive for commuters to live in because they didn't have to worry about any traffic. So Gig Harbor really, really started to take off. And our population really has grown in those last 16, 17 years or so. So now we don't get traffic really on the bridge. We get traffic more along the Highway 16 corridor coming into the first main exit of Gig Harbor. And it depends where you're coming from. I mean, if you're coming from a place that has no traffic at all, you're not going to like it. If you're coming from a big city, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Dallas, any kind of big city, you're going to probably laugh at the traffic because it's pretty insignificant. But during rush hour, there are some slowdowns that will add a few minutes to your commute. Coming into Gig Harbor, it's really not that much of a delay, but it has grown over the years. It is something that may be more of an impact down the road as our population continues to grow in the area. And that's, of course, if they don't, add any infrastructure to help alleviate that. So it's just something to be mindful that traffic is kind of a little bit of a concern and an issue for some people. We do have some of it that we have to deal with, but all in all, in my opinion anyway, it's pretty minor. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit here, and I will point out some very specific areas in Gig Harbor where I believe traffic is kind of an issue, okay? So first one we talked about was right along here. When you come over the Narrows Bridge, you seem to be doing about 65, 70 miles an hour. I'm talking during rush hour. If it's not rush hour, then basically it's fine and you're just cruising all the way through. But during rush hour time. So in the afternoon, you come across the bridge, you're heading home. And right about here, you start hitting some slowdowns. And you hit slowdowns until you get to this first main exit, which is the Olympic exit. And after that, it kind of frees up again. It's no big deal. So you have a little bit of a delay. It's usually not stop and go, but it slows down to, 35, 40 miles an hour for a mile and a half or so, and then it frees up. So that's a traffic area on the highway. Some people ask about traffic going over to Fox Island. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. And this right here is the Fox Island Bridge. There's really no traffic here at all. Fox Island is a very suburban area. There's really no businesses or big places of employment. There's a couple little stores and things like that, of course, but it's very much a community, a family community where people live. And the traffic going over this during rush hour, cars flow over it, but there's no slowdowns. There's nothing like that you have to be concerned about. One of the worst intersections, in my opinion, again, is this first exit right here at Olympic Drive. And if you get off and if you go west, when you hit this point at Point Fosdick and Olympic, in my opinion, it's the worst light in Gig Harbor. It just gets backed up. There's a big shopping area right here. It's called Uptown. This is a main exit that a lot of people take for everybody that lives out here in Artendale. They take that exit, so you can have some delays at that light. It might take you a couple cycles to get through the light, okay? We're gonna travel further north, even though it says Highway 16 is actually going west, it's pretty much more north. And the other bottleneck that really does have an impact for people is right here. This is Highway 302. This is called the Purdy Bridge, okay? Purdy Bridge right here is how everybody gets connected to this whole Key Peninsula. And as you can see, I'll scroll out. This is the only access to get over to Interstate 5 or Tacoma is for all these people is going right up and over this little pretty bridge. And it is a 2-lane bridge, one lane going each way. And during rush hour traffic, it is a real thing. Cars get backed up here going in the morning to get onto Highway 16. And then people coming home in the afternoon, early evening, getting off of Highway 16 to go over the pretty bridge. It is something to deal with for sure. So that is absolutely a consideration that a lot of commuters don't want to deal with looking at properties out here, because that bridge does cause an inconvenience. Now, part of the reason that property is cheaper out here is because of that. It's just not quite as convenient. It's not as close to the amenities of Gig Harbor, things like that. So your dollar will go further out here. You'll be able to buy more acreage, more of a house, as opposed to something equivalent on this side of the bridge. But you do have to deal with the pretty bridge. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to talk about as far as commutes and stuff is just give you an idea of time frame. So if you're coming from just central Gig Harbor right about here, and you want to go to the airport, which follow the cursor, goes Highway 16 to Interstate 5 to right here at SeaTac. To get there, normal traffic conditions from just middle of Gig Harbor, you're looking at 45 minutes or so. If you want to get up to Seattle, up here, go to a ball game, go see a theater show, just go check out downtown, Pike's Place, whatever it may be, count on an hour. If traffic's a little slow, it could take a little longer. If you're a fast driver, it could take a little shorter, but count on about an hour. If you are wanting to make your home in Gig Harbor and your job is going to take you up to the Bremerton area, you'll probably have about 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes, depending on where you're going at in Bremerton. Now, I must point out there is another little traffic area, and that is right here where my cursor is. This little thing, this is called Gorst. And it is a little bit of a bottleneck because you have Highway 3 coming in here. It merges into Highway 16. So in the morning, going to Bremerton, you have some traffic to deal with. And then in the afternoon, when you're leaving, particularly when the shipyard gets out, Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, when that workforce gets out about 3:15 in the afternoon, it's a big onslaught of people coming out, and there's a bottleneck to get through the Gorst as well. So that's something to keep in mind if you're commuting up into Bremerton area from Gig Harbor area. So that's pretty much it as far as traffic goes. And now we're going to start diving into neighborhoods and some of the history of how they've developed, who's been here a long time, what neighborhoods are newer, where the amenities are, and things like that. So let's dive into that right now. I'm going to zoom back in a little bit so we can get into Gig Harbor itself. Okay, so downtown Gig Harbor, this all started in the late 1800s. It was a fishing and timber area, boat building, things like that. So all the oldest homes are right down here in downtown Gig Harbor. There are some homes that date back to the 1800s, but it really developed over the 20th century. So you'll find a lot of homes in there that were built in the 50s, 60s, and 70s as that generation really started to grow. So that's obviously the oldest part of Gig Harbor. Rosedale and Artendale, they've been around for a long, long time. These are just areas of Gig Harbor. They're all part of Gig Harbor. Obviously, Rosedale is more north, Artendale is more south. And then there's all these little areas within those areas, right? So if you look at Artendale, there's Cromwell and there's Arletta, and Woolachet is its whole other area on this side of Woolachet Bay. So those are the big main areas of Gig Harbor. What you're going to find in Rosedale and Artendale, in my opinion, they are very much the same. When you cross from one to the other, you don't know you're doing so. The neighborhoods look a lot alike. There's really not any brand new developments in there. There are some offshoots here and there of, a couple new homes built here or there, or maybe a builder will buy a plat and subdivide it into 4 or 5 different lots. So there'd be little sections of 4 or 5 new homes thrown in there here and there, but there's no big brand new planned communities with 1,000 homes. You're going to get homes that were built in the 70s and 80s. They're going to be a bit more spacious, 1/4 acre lots, 1/2 acre lots. more distance from each other, things like that. So if you're looking for a little bit more space, a little bit more of a traditional older home, more woods, things like that, these are areas to definitely look at. And just keep in mind though, look at Artendale, how big this is. So you could live right over here near Midway, and you could be 3 or 4 minutes away from the freeway and have a really easy commute. Or you could be way over here by Copachuck State Park, and it's going to take you 15 minutes just to get to the freeway and then your commute. So where you're at can make a really big difference. Okay, so we have kind of briefly discussed Artendale and Rosedale. You can see Copachuck State Park is actually in Artendale. Raft Island is a small little private island of about 226 homes. There is a tiny little bridge to get over that. You don't have to worry about traffic on that at all. But that's in the Rosedale area. All of this is right along Carr Inlet and Henderson Bay. And there's all these little coves in here that people, they go water skiing on. The water really warms up in these bays for sure. Out here in the open water, it's a lot cooler. So that gives you an idea of just how those are situated compared to downtown Gig Harbor, which is right here. Now let's go down to Fox Island. So Fox Island, here's the Fox Island Bridge. So again, with commute times, if you live close to the bridge, it's not that big of a deal. But look how far down you can be, all the way down here, down where it says Google My Maps. What if you lived way down there? You are gonna have a serious commute to drive all along Fox Island, go along the Fox Island Bridge, all the way up through here, just to get to the freeway, okay? So it's quite an ordeal. And this scares some people away from Fox Island because they just don't want to be that far away. Even for basic amenities, like the grocery store, the real closest grocery store is going to be right up here in Uptown, right up here. So it's a commute. It's a serious thing. For the high schools and middle schools, none of them are on Fox Island. They would be taking buses, or you'd be putting the kids in the car and driving to the various schools. So you're looking at a difference in your lifestyle as far as just getting to conveniences of stores, your job, and of the kids' schools. So, but Fox Island, don't get me great. It's fantastic. Average price point on Gig Harbor is over $1 million. It's obviously an island. There is tons of beautiful waterfront properties. They have great views. It's a nice, peaceful place to live. Again, there's no brand new communities that have gone in there. Just same thing as Artendale and Rosedale. A few one-offs here and there, a few small plats with 4 or 5 different homes that have gone in. But you have a lot of space, a lot of trees. You can absolutely find some acreage and some privacy. But the downside of that is it's not as convenient to all those amenities that we had talked about before. All right, let's move on. So we have covered Fox Island, we have covered Artendale, we have covered Rosedale. So Willachet is the southmost part of the main part of Gig Harbor. Obviously, Fox Island is further south than that, but without having to go over the bridge, this is the main part. This whole thing is basically a hillside here that all points south. So a lot of homes on here have really nice views. They look over at Fox Island. They can look in this direction over here, which goes towards Mount Rainier. You can, some of these homes can look down here and look at Chambers Bay Golf Course down in University Place. It's not too far from the freeway, and it's a very nice area. There is some really, really nice homes, nice communities in this area, some really nice views. You get into Willachet Bay, there's a lot of waterfront homes, private docks, things like that. And there's waterfront galore. As you can see, we're surrounded by water on 3 sides. And all along the coast, all along here, except for Copachuck State Park, obviously, but all along here, there's waterfront homes, many of them with their own docks, nice expansive beaches, great views. They're expensive. I mean, you're paying for a waterfront. It is expensive. All right, we're gonna move on to more north and then further on the east side of Gig Harbor. Okay, so I want to zoom in a bit more. And again, this is downtown Gig Harbor. Downtown's, not big. It's pretty small. It's just right here. This is where the hub of activity is. This is where the farmers market is. This is where most of the restaurants are. This is where the Maritime Parade takes place. This is where the summer concert series takes place. This is where people go and walk the dog and walk along the waterfront. And there's a ton of marinas in here. Along this east side, this is Goodman Drive right here. Zoom in a little bit more. And all along here are exquisite waterfront homes with many of them have their own private docks. They're looking out west, so you see the great sunsets, and they're right here, right inside the mouth of Gig Harbor. So Gig Harbor itself is fairly small. So you can see this is Peacock Hill. Peacock Hill is one of the main ways to go from downtown to get to Gig Harbor North. And I know this says Cannerwood here. Cannerwood is a neighborhood within Gig Harbor North, but I want to really talk about Gig Harbor North because this is kind of a big deal. So Gig Harbor North is basically this circle right here. And this is the area that has had the most development over the last 15 years. This is the area that really got developed and took off after that second Narrows Bridge was built. So you can see Costco Wholesale is right here. So when I first moved to Gig Harbor, I lived right off of Peacock Hill up here a little bit. This road, Borgen Boulevard, didn't even exist. It wasn't there. Now, Borgen Boulevard is there, and there's Costco there. There's Safeway. There's a Target. There's a YMCA right off of it. This is where Home Depot is. Huge stores. A lot of amenities were built with this road with population growth, because all along here is called Harbor Hill. And Harbor Hill is a true tract home community where, you know, every fourth or fifth house kind of looks the same. They are close together. They're nice homes, all nice features and things like that, but they're concentrated. It is the definition of urban density. It is average new development across America, USA, the whole 9 yards. That's what Harbor Hill is. Super convenient to all the stores, super convenient to freeway access, super convenient to the hospital. It's a really convenient area, but when you're buying in there, you are buying almost an urban neighborhood. Now, well, it is an urban neighborhood. I wouldn't say Gig Harbor is super urban itself, but that area of Gig Harbor definitely is pretty concentrated. Okay, so let's move into Cannerwood. And Cannerwood is in Gig Harbor North, but it's its own little community. I don't know why Google Maps has Cannerwood over here, because that is not Cannerwood. Cannerwood is right here. It is a golf and country club. You can see here, these are all the fairways and everything. And this is a gated community. There is about 815 homes in this community here. There's a security guard that is on duty 24/7. There's 4 private entrances into the neighborhood for all the residents and club members. And then there's 1 public entrance that you have to go through a gate with a security guard, and you have to be on the sheet or get permission to come in one way or another. So Cannerwood is a very it's a pretty well-known neighborhood. It's got some certain prestige to it because it is part of the golf course community. Now, it's not, the golf club is a separate entity. You don't have to live in there to be a member of the golf club, and you don't have to be a member of the golf club to live in there. They are separate entities, but of course, many of the residents in there are members of the club. So that is Cannerwood. And if you are looking at Cannerwood and that kind of a lifestyle and things like that, you can see it is really easy access to the freeways. It's really convenient to all of the stores down here. I mean, this is only a 3 or 4 minute drive. So it's in a really convenient location for things like that. And it's something that a lot of people are interested in. So if that's your vibe and you want a country club type lifestyle, feel free to reach out to me. I know a lot about the neighborhood. I've helped many people buy and sell in Cannerwood. All right, I'm going to zoom out a little bit more, and we're going to talk about from Crescent Valley east, all up in here. So we have Point Richmond up in here, Maplewood, things like that. So this is up on a hill right up here, and it's kind of weird. It feels like you're really far away from everything, but you're kind of not. Downtown is right here, so you can go up and you can be right up here within just a couple minutes, but you do feel like you're going into a completely different area. And then if you live further up it, now you're starting to get a little bit further away from things. It takes longer to get downtown. It'll take longer to get over to the freeway, things like that. The other thing is the cell phone service is kind of spotty up there in different areas. Now, if you lived up there, you would have Xfinity cable and a Wi-Fi, and your phone would work just fine. But there's places along the road here that cell phone signal kind of drops. It's just not the greatest coverage, but internet access is absolutely no problem at all. So that is getting up to the Point Richmond area, Sunrise Beach, Maplewood area. And then the last area that I want to talk about in regards to Gig Harbor is way over here. I'm going to zoom out again. And this is the whole Key Peninsula. Okay, so again, you have to go over the Purdy Bridge. There's a lot of addresses right in here that are still addressed as Gig Harbor, but it is a different area. This is still all Peninsula School District. So all of these homes here would be going to the Peninsula School District, which is the same school district as anywhere in the hub of Gig Harbor. So you have that benefit. It is a little bit different demographic. The price point is definitely lower out here. It is definitely a little bit more rural, a little bit more blue collar, if you will. And that's not to say that there aren't the magnificent homes along the water here with great views and that are beautiful, or acreage inside and equestrian farms. Those certainly exist. I'm talking in very general terms that you're going to find a little bit of a different demographic out here than you will in downtown Gig Harbor. And that's just normal. It's just a different area. It's a different way of life for different people with different styles. And whichever one you are, that is totally cool. So just want people to be wide open as to what they are getting into and what they're looking for and what is going to suit their lifestyle. All right, next, let's talk about some areas that surround Gig Harbor. And first, we're going to go up into Kitsap County. A lot of people consider South Kitsap. I'm going to zoom in again a little bit. So Burley, Olalla, Glenwood, all of these areas are all in South Kitsap. The county line is going to be right about here. This is about the county line right there. It's about 160th Street is where that is. That is the county line. So you go north of that, you are in Kitsap County, South Kitsap. And on average, your dollar is going to go further in South Kitsap than it will in Pierce County and Gig Harbor. So the great thing about the Burley and Olalla area is you can have all the conveniences of Gig Harbor. You are only 7, 8, maybe 10 minutes, depending where you're at, of course, from the amenities of Gig Harbor, like the Costco's and the Target, Home Depot, YMCA, things like that. You're still really close. You can go participate in all the activities downtown Gig Harbor. You can, if you're a golfer, you can be a member of Candlewood Golf and Country Club. And all of it is just like, you're 7, 8 minutes away, 10 minutes away. You would be closer than if you lived in these far parts of Artendale. So a lot of people really consider these areas, especially if you have certain budget restraints, because like I said, your dollar's going to go further up in this area. If you're looking for places that have a bit more space, a little bit more in nature, more treed, things like that, you're more likely to find those type of lots in South Kitsap than you are in the Gig Harbor area. They're just more abundant out there. So that is a definite consideration that I get a lot of clients, if they're thinking about where they want to be, they consider that because, again, their dollar goes a lot further. Now, one thing that they do consider is once you cross into the Kitsap County line, you're in a different school district. You are in South Kitsap School District. It's a totally different set of schools, middle schools, elementary schools, high schools, obviously. So that is a consideration for those of you with school-age kids and if you have a particular school district in mind. So keep that in mind. You are changing school districts if you get into the South Kitsap area. The next area I want to talk about is on the east side of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. So this is Tacoma. the north end of Tacoma here, the west slope right here where my cursor is at. And then you go just a little bit south, you get into Fir Crest. And then even further south than that is the Steilacoom and Lakewood areas. Lakewood is all of these lakes down here, right? And then, of course, Tacoma. Tacoma's a big city. Well, big city. It's a pretty big city. It's not a giant city like a Chicago or a Dallas or a Houston by any means, but there's about 250,000 people that live in Tacoma. So it's a big city with all the big city stuff. University Place is a much smaller little city. What attracts a lot of people to University Place is it has one of the higher ranking school districts in the state. So that is a big draw for a lot of people with school-age kids. And a lot of the homes along here, especially towards the coast, they're on this little slope and they point out west, so you get great views of the Olympic Mountains and the sunsets and things like that. So this is a consideration, and especially if you're somebody that does not want to deal with the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, you work, say, in downtown Tacoma, or you work up in King County in the Seattle area, obviously this is going to shave a lot of time off your commute. You don't have to deal with the Narrows Bridge toll. So there's conveniences to it for sure, but you are absolutely in much more of an urban environment, much more of a bigger city environment than you are in the Gig Harbor area. So something to consider. Something to look at. If you're coming to visit us here in Gig Harbor and you're coming from the airport, you will drive right through Tacoma on I-5 and then on Highway 16. And I would encourage you to look around. There's some really good restaurants downtown here. There's some cool spots. By the way, Point Defiance Park right up here, that is the second largest city park in the country behind Central Park in New York. And they've got their own little zoo and aquarium here, which is really cool. Lots of trails in here, lots of deer. They have a road in here. It's called 5 Mile Drive. So it's obviously 5 miles, but people jog and ride their bikes through it. And it's just in old growth forest. It's really, really a cool spot. The one thing I wanted to mention while we were going through all the various neighborhoods, right over here, we're going to put a couple QR codes. And one of them is my relocation guide. So the relocation guide is going to break down all these neighborhoods in Gig Harbor, from Gig Harbor North and Cannerwood and Rosedale and Artendale and Fox Island, all those places, give you an idea in a brochure as to what those areas are like, what they have to offer, where they're located. It's just a great reference for you. Also, we're going to throw a QR code on here that is my neighborhood quiz. So if you aren't quite sure what you're looking for, just take this real short quiz. It'll help narrow down what might be a good areas for you to look in. And then I get alerted of anybody taking this quiz, and I'll reach out to you with any follow-up questions and things like that. So make sure you take those, download those for your reference, and there you go. Okay, I know I mentioned a little bit downtown Gig Harbor, but I really want to hit on this because this is the charming, drawing part of what people are seeing whenever they hear about Gig Harbor, see all the media about Gig Harbor and what Gig Harbor has to offer. So Gig Harbor is right here. And this is Harbor View Drive. And this is where everything happens. Scansey Brothers Park right here. This is where the farmers market takes place during the summertime months, every Thursday. This is where the free concerts are. Summer concert series takes place at this park on Tuesday evenings. I believe there's 6 or 8 of the concerts throughout the summer. Every Tuesday night, again, free for everybody to come. So people just come, they put their lawn chairs out here in the park and enjoy the free concert. It gets pretty crowded. So if you want a seat, put your chairs out there in the morning, just leave them there and they'll be there for you in the afternoon, and you come down and enjoy the evening. All along here are boutique shops. You won't find any big chain stores whatsoever. There's no Walmarts. There's no, whatever chain stores you can think of. They're all mom and pop, locally owned kind of boutique shops. There's some breweries. There are plenty of coffee places. There's little places to eat. That's all along Harbor View Drive. And this is where it's a great walkway. People take their dogs, go for jogs all along the water. It's pretty, active during the summertime. During the wintertime, when it's a little cool and gray, it's not quite as active, but people are still out there all the time. Of course, the farmers market and stuff is not taking place in the wintertime months, but people still get out and walk Harborview Drive and go to all those shops because they are open year round. So that is downtown. All along downtown, above Harborview Drive, this all sits on a hillside. So many of these homes, they're older. There's very few new construction here, unless it was a house that was torn down and they built a new one, or, you know, for whatever reason, a lot was undeveloped, which does happen from time to time. But most of this is developed. Most of these homes are going to be like mid-century types age. A lot of them have been updated over the years. A lot of these have great views of the harbor because they all just climb up this hill and they all look out over the harbor. So this is a really cool area, especially if you want to be involved in the community and just have a short walk to downtown. A lot of people are looking all along here just above Harborview Drive. So that is downtown Gig Harbor right there in a nutshell. Tides Tavern, Severn Seas Brewery. You get up here, I want to zoom in more. Devoted Kiss right here. This is probably one, in my opinion, the best place to go have breakfast in the whole area. I don't know why this isn't popping up, but this little icon right there, this is called Morso Restaurant. It's one of my favorite ones. There's a deck out here that looks out to the harbor. It's a great little spot to eat. I like taking clients there for lunch and things like that, especially during the nice summer months because we can sit outside. So that is downtown Gig Harbor. If I did not live in my neighborhood, Gig Harbor downtown is where I would want to live. That's just me, because I would want to be involved in all this stuff, and I just love all the activity going on down there. Okay, everybody, that is basically the map summary of Gig Harbor and the different areas and some of the things to keep in mind: commute times, locations, how far they are from different stores, things like that. If we scroll way out, Gig Harbor is right here. You can see where we're at compared to Seattle, where we're at compared to Bremerton, where we're at compared to Portland and Vancouver, Canada. So there is downtown Gig Harbor. Again, I have lived here for over 30 years. I have raised my kids here. I know everything Gig Harbor in and out. My team and I have helped over 600 people buy and sell homes in the Gig Harbor area. So we would love to be a resource for you. All of my information is going to be displayed on the screen here. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time. Give me a call, send me an email, send me a text, whatever it is. We will get back to you. Happy to help and just be a resource for you and help point you in the right direction, whatever that may be. Until the next video, take care.